Okay, we are good to go.
Good to go. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Here we are on our Sunday night fun, creepy fest that we like to get into. We are Global Strangeness, so that's Scott, Jeremy, and myself, Deborah. And we are three strangers who came together just because we had a shared passion of things that are paranormal and folklorish and basically things that scare the shit out of people. So that's what drew us together. And tonight we decided we were going to cover the topic of skinwalkers. So I guess the first thing is, and I was a little bit confused about this. The first thing, what is a skinwalker? So if you look at the Wikipedia definition of it, it's a shape-shifting witch that can turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal or creature. They basically can take on any of the attributes of the animal. And even when they're in kind of human form, they keep animalistic kind of features. But then there's a lot of correlation between aliens and skinwalkers. So that's the part I found kind of a little bit confusing about whether people think that they're aliens or if they are actually witches. So when it comes to the origins of them, really they kind of became popular in 1996 when the Desert News published an article called Frequent Flyers. So this will be, everybody's heard about this for sure. And it covers a story about a Utah family's traumatizing experiences with a creature. And they had cattle mutilations and disappearances of their cattle, UFO sightings, crop circles. So that's where it's like really heavily UFO related and alien kind of related with that. And so that's the Sherman family, and everybody knows this story for sure. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of Skinwalker Ranch. So the very beginning is the Sherman family. They were original family that first started encountering something on the ranch. So the kind of scariest story that I found out of all their experiences was Terry Sherman was walking his dogs one night around the ranch, and the dog started getting really worked up or whatever, and then they saw a wolf, but it wasn't like any other, it wasn't like a normal wolf at all. It was kind of 3 times the size, it had glowing red eyes, just really scary. And he actually, in the account that I read, he shot it 3 times into its side and it didn't even flinch. So have you guys heard that version of it as well?
Yes,
so, yeah.
that's the most commonly believed version, is that he shot it 3 times, and it's been compared to a dire wolf, like from ancient Norse lore, kind of. That's what they compared it to. Like that's what most shows call it still. It's like a dire wolf, which are supposed to be extinct for tens of thousands of years now. So
I got a question for you. Is that what they mean? Is that like why it's called Skinwalker Ranch from that? Because I couldn't find any skinwalker.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because everything that happened there is, and because it's right in the middle of the desert where the Ute and Navajo tribes were warring, and that's where supposedly, I think it was the Ute, like the witches and the Ute cast this curse on themselves or on the Navajo, so that they had to become skinwalkers, or something along those lines. I forget the exact storyline of the story, but
yeah, I think it's a Navajo legend, and then the Utes, they teamed up with the Mormons, right? And then kicked the Navajo off the land.
Well, and it seems like there's a few different traditions, that so Hopi as well, Navajo, Apache. So they all kind of have their same version of skinwalkers too, which I found interesting because, again, it's one of those where everybody, just like Wendigo, everybody's got a version of it. So it kind of makes it more believable something's going on, because they all, so many different cultures and traditions and whatever have these stories threaded through them about these same similar kind of experiences. And the Navajo, the thing that I found interesting about this is it's hard to get any first-hand accounts and tales. They don't like to talk about them. You're not supposed to actually say the name. So literally, they believe that it's a medicine man who kind of went rogue and did a bunch of bad things and learned a bunch of took on a bunch of powers, was gifted a bunch of evil powers, and they have evil intent. So something between something different, that's they're not just like randomly slashing and killing everybody. The skinwalkers have intentional targets and they do intentional killings. So they can be spotted or whatever, but it's not, like when they go, anybody who sees it is gonna die. These can be spotted and whatever, but they have they intend to kill. They have, malicious intent at certain targeted victims. That's what I found. I don't know, did you guys read that too? Yeah.
About the same thing. I did notice like the biggest difference between the Wendigo and the Skinwalker was the Skinwalker has to put on the fur, right? The Wendigo didn't need to.
No, the Wendigo is transformed permanently once it once it commits cannibalism. It's just transformed permanently.
Yeah, I think the Skinwalkers, they don't have to put on, like from what I read, they can transform, like they are shapeshifters, and they can possess an animal, they can disguise themselves as an animal, or they can look like a human with animalistic kind of features. So they seem almost demonic or like a witch. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah, the idea of them having to put on the skin actually, or like peel off their skin for it to happen, was a very popular culture based thing. That's the way they could show it on TV and make it look, and that's the way they explained away why they could change appearance.
Right, and you see a lot of photos with that, right, where they're wearing an animal skin or something.
I mean, that's
they actually turn into the thing.
That's more in like the Scandinavian lore of like, supposedly the warriors used to wear bear furs to make themselves turn into berserkers. Like
that's something that came up, and I was like, "What's berserkers? That sounds like people I'd like to drink with or something." I don't know.
No,
Vikings taking mushrooms.
It's berserker. Berserkers are literally ancient Scandinavians that would, when they were in battle, they would wear bear fur and they would eat mushrooms out of the woods, and it basically turned into like a freaking drug fueled like crazy fight fest. Like they went berserker.
See?
That's why they call it that.
It's party people. It's party people. I knew it from the name.
I mean, if you want to kill a bunch of people for a party, hell yeah. But
maybe not that part. But
mushrooms might not be the best pick, though. Maybe they should have gotten some cocaine and alcohol for that.
Something mellowing, yeah.
Wrong content for the cocaine back then, but
yeah. So, anyway, so a little bit more history about the Skinwalker Ranch, because that's really the main story. There was a lot of I don't know, did you guys find any good videos or pictures? Because it's all black, it's a couple little black eyes and stuff, but
I have a picture, and I got something that goes with the picture. So
sweet. Okay, yeah, because I was just seeing things that I'm like, what, like, what is that? Could be anything kind of thing. So the Skinwalker Ranch, though, what's interesting about it? So after those people moved, then it was bought. I got all these papers here. It was then bought by a UFO enthusiast and Las Vegas realtor, Robert Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
And he bought it for like $200,000 in 1996. And he established a National Institute of Discovery Science on the grounds and put up a bunch of surveillance and stuff, like not as much as it is now, but a bunch of surveillance. And he's trying to capture a whole bunch of evidence and whatever.
He recently sold it, right? And they
listen to the price. Listen to the price.
Not recently though. It was like 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It was way before COVID, but
when he still owned it, one of his employees, who was a biochemist, Dr. Colm Kelleller. Anyways, he spotted a large humanoid figure perched in a tree, and he wrote a book about it called Hunt for the Skinwalker, and it was like 20 feet off the ground and it was about 50 feet away. And he wrote in his book, this is an excerpt of his book, the large creature that lay motionless almost casually in the tree. The only indication of the beast's presence was the penetrating yellow light of its unblinking eyes as they stared fixedly back into the light. And he thought it looked kind of like a bird of prey, like a raptor or something like that. And there was some scratch marks and claw marks in the tree. From a big thing though, not just like an eagle or anything that we would see. And then a few days right before that, there was a ranch manager and his wife. So they still were running cattle on this ranch at that time, even though they were doing all this investigating. And they went for a walk, and their dog, they had just tagged the little calf, and they had a dog with them, and the dog started acting really crazy. And this is afternoon, so it's middle of the day. And they went back to investigate the calf. And in the field, in broad daylight, they found that calf with its body cavity was empty. So it had been all its guts, everything scooped right out. And there was no blood, like no pooling blood around it or anything. It was very clean. And yeah, there would be a lot of, guts and gore and whatever. And there was none of that. It was like something just came and sucked it dry and left it, and in the middle of the day. So yeah.
Chupacabra?
Yeah, right? And there was another witness that saw something in a tree, and yeah. So then they sold it, Bigelow, the realtor, he sold the ranch to a company called, and I might be saying this wrong, Adam Antium Holdings for $4.5 million.
He made quite an investment there.
I'm like, damn, I want to sell my house in a few years. Like, maybe I need to, I don't know. I need to make this place more interesting, because that, like, 200,000 to, 4.5 million in that short of a time. And these guys, they have a surveillance, like, there's armed guards around there, everything. It is they have all kinds of infrared lights and all kinds of surveillance, heavily guarded. You can't get in there.
My son and I want to drive up there, but we've heard that even if you stop on the side of the road, once you enter that town, there are just so many police, they kick you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got more details on the state of it now once I get to pop culture, obviously.
Okay.
Because there's a big show right now.
I didn't do anything on Skinwalker Ranch. That's why I didn't get anything like super small,
Well, these guys, they've installed like cameras, alarm systems, infrared, and more. And so, but their company employees are still seeing stuff, even though they have all this stuff. It's what I find weird is with all this surveillance and, security and all this stuff, nobody's accepted the evidence. Like, it's not been, especially the people before, they tried to submit some evidence and it wasn't, accepted by any, experts or whatever as being, effective enough to really be believable. Kind of weird, but
I'll say for now, millions of viewers around the world have accepted the evidence, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. But to get it sort of scientifically acknowledged as something, right, is what we're sort of trying to do, is have that type of evidence. And you think, all this and so many accounts. And so even this new company that bought it for so expensive, their employees are still seeing things too. So
well, they're only researching it, right? That's why they bought it, was to research.
That's all it is now. Yeah, it's not, they don't have cows anymore. I don't think it's not this ranch at all.
If I'm not mistaken, though, I believe between the paranormal enthusiasts and the new company buying it, the government owned it for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't see that. That's
from what I've been told, the the Colorado government or the U.S. government owned it for like 10 years or something like that, because they were trying to do their own research there.
Oh, interesting.
Didn't Robert Knapp, wasn't he the one that made the first movie, the Skinwalker Ranch movie?
I think so, but I got more on that in a minute. But,
okay.
But that's also not about the same ranch we're talking about.
Okay, so that's good. That's interesting that it's a different sighting other than this ranch, because most of the, talk about around skinwalkers comes from this one ranch, right? It's all kind of centralized around this.
There was an episode of Stories with Sapphire about a couple months ago, and there was a Native American guest on. And one, like you said earlier, he refused to call it by the name Skinwalker. Like, even in saying it, he called it a human suit wearer.
Right. Interesting.
Because he refused to say the name, or you'd also be like Skinwalker or something like that. Like, you would like do a derivation of the name to make it like not sound like you're. Because supposedly, if you call the name, it will come to you. Like, it will sense that you're using its name, and it'll find you. So lock your doors tonight. But
yeah,
I totally forgot the second part of that, but yeah, it's. There are that's the point of that. There's other people who will talk about it too, and their legends. But like he said, when he was growing up, if you ask your elders about it, you get in trouble because you're not supposed to speak its name. Like, your elders will tell you when you get to a certain age about it so that you could be prepared and ready to ward it off. But
yeah, and
you
there's a really
don't.
strong belief that it shouldn't be talked about to outsiders either. Like it's not meant to be a, fascinating topic for people like us to be casually chatting about it like this. They take it really
Yeah.
seriously and they keep it very. So there is like stories out of Canada too, but there's just not a lot of information around for that reason. Like it's, it's not like firsthand accounts and
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Names and
I've
dates,
actually-
man.
Yeah,
I've
right.
actually messaged the Native American who was on Swords of Sapphire, and I also messaged on Twitter the financer owner. He represents the company that owns Skinwalker Ranch right now. Because I've seen him on TV multiple times on this show we're going to talk about later, and I've tried to get him on my show too, but he's not
Oh,
responding.
that'd be amazing.
I know. He's a Brandon Fugel, I think his name is Brandon Fugel. He's the CEO or something of the company that owns it.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking to I got a shout out for Pixelated Paranormal podcast, and I'm talking to them about having them come on for an interview for us. So they've been around for like 5 years and they seem interested. So
Good, yeah.
I mean, that's why I wasn't here 2 weeks ago. Is because I was doing a crossover with 3 Haunted Paranormal.
Yeah, no.
Which
We'll,
you would have liked them, Scott. They get argumentative.
Oh yeah.
What talking about? Scott's easy. Yeah, he's a teddy bear. So well, I mean, on the secrecy, I guess that's a good segue, Scott, to get into, because the J.K. Rowling thing, like the whole, not speaking about it and not making, having a whole bunch of public fuss about it.
Yeah.
It gets people up in arms. It's kind of interesting.
Well, this lady, it didn't seem like she was up in arms about that. I don't know. I'll get into it later.
Okay, well, so that's pretty much all I have. Other than the company that owns it now, their employees have been seeing things too, and it's kind of weird. Like they're experiencing all this strange stuff, like skin inflammation and nausea after working on the grounds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they have to get hospitalized, and they have no clear medical diagnosis. It's just from being exposed, like being on the ranch.
I'm gonna ask this now. I'm gonna ask this now, and I won't save this for my section because it's gonna be a big topic anyway. I know it is already. Have either of you actually watched The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch yet?
I don't think it was The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. I watched one like 5 or 6 years ago.
No, this is The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch is in it. Its 3rd season's over, and they're starting the 4th season soon.
Is it like a dramatized show, or is
no?
It's a documentary?
It is 100% documentary. I mean, at least that's the way they advertise it. And basically, it's the guys who run the ranch now, who work on the ranch and running it, including an employee named that likes to be called Dragon.
That's reliable.
Which
names
the
and
whole
dates.
first. The whole first season, that was my biggest joke of the season, was that he insists on being called Dragon, and like whenever you hear somebody say his name, it's just like, oh God. But I mean, and he looks like the type too. He just looks like the type. No offense, Dragon. I'd love to have you on my show if you want to come on one day, but yeah, it's just you. Yeah, you look the type. But yeah, I mean, they on that show they found mutilated cattle. They've captured multiple daylight sightings of UFOs on camera and pictures. And on the show, they show you all this. Like, you can see it all. So that's why I said, like, millions of viewers have seen this. And that's why it's one of the biggest, it's the biggest paranormal show out on TV in the last 4 years.
So why aren't we seeing this on the internet and stuff though? Like, why aren't they sharing it on Facebook and everywhere like the actual photographs?
They do. If you follow the show on any social media, they post like previews and teasers and stuff. Like, of course they do, because they want you to watch. But it's a Discovery Channel program, I want to say, or something like that. Like it's or maybe even Animal Planet, but I forget where it's on. But I know it goes to, I think, Hulu once the season ended, and they like wait the right amount of time, like they put the new seasons on Hulu. But it's, I mean, they were talking about how, like, on the different houses in there, like there's shadow people. You'll hear voices when you're in the houses, like people talking to you, like they're in the room. And they've dug holes to try to figure out like if there's anything underground that could be killing the cows or anything. And like when they went in one of the houses and dug a hole in the basement. That's when one guy, the guy who hosts the show, who's like a visiting scientist,
Yeah.
he had to go to the hospital because he had like issues going on. His head swelled up, like his brain swelled up after being exposed to whatever was in the basement there. And they also they've been taking apart the mountain a little bit by two because I think the mountain gives off really weird readings on every kind of meter they could do for like that type of stuff, EKG and all that, and what the tests they run on it. Like there's minerals in there that they can't identify.
Have you seen the hieroglyphs up above the ranch, up in the rocks?
Yes. They showed on the show. They gave you a full front like view of all those. Like they went up that whole mountain and like they started working on it because there's a theory that it might be like an alien extraterrestrial base in that because they see all the UFOs come from the direction of that mountain.
Well, another strange thing is a couple weeks ago, when you were doing the other podcast, we were doing the local lore or whatever. And you remember how they said that there were all those colorful lights out at the where the Mormons euthanized some people there in a big old pile?
Yeah.
Well, the colorful lights are again in that Skinwalker Ranch thing, which most of the time the orbs are just like one color, right?
No, they could be all different colors.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like there are people who have reported seeing them in like the woods and like what's that? So Gettysburg. Like if you go to Gettysburg at night, like you'll see different orbs of all different types floating around like the different battlefields. And ghost lights are just like that. They're always different colors. Some people say it depends on the person who died aura. That's what color it is. Or
see, that would have been a perfect clip. Your aura is purple, man.
So here's the thing, because when I was a kid, I was raised on a farm, right? In the prairies. And there were cattle mutilated. I remember this very distinctly. There was cattle that was mutilated. So I'm like, well, did we have like, so is this alien? Is this witchcraft? Like, what is this? But there was, cattle that were found.
What did your parents say?
Well, not a lot because we were Catholic, so it was very like evil, whatever. Go talk about it.
Shoot,
it was like that. And I was young, right?
Have the priest come and bless the cows.
But it was, cattle were being found with like weird things, just precision, like surgeon precision cuts on them. And the same thing that like when I was researching this and it said no pooling of blood, same thing. There was no blood pooling anywhere. So that's really weird, right?
Got to make that blood pudding somehow, dude. You don't want to waste that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's weird because the cow mutilation is just a topic for so many different like paranormal aspects. I mean, it's like missing. It's the same way that missing time relates to so many different aspects too.
Yeah.
It makes you want to theorize that it all goes together somehow. Like
to me, it feels more alien though than it would like witchcraft, right?
Yeah.
Witchcraft would be like, like on an altar and sacrifice and sacrificial, and they want. But this is like, it's like something's coming and taking certain parts in a very surgical manner, in a very advanced, I don't know. It's to me, that seems more alien. If any of this makes sense.
Oh, it does. Because on the Secret Skinwalker Ranch, they had a doctor come out and autopsy one of the mutilated cows, and it was missing certain organs. That's all it was missing. Certain organs, and it looked like the rest of the body was like just freeze dried almost. And they suck the blood out and they freeze dried the rest of the body almost, because it's just weird the way like they showed the body like really graphically up close and stuff too, which was like ew. But
but that's what happened. So then when I was young, that was what happened. Was like it was like surgical precision cuts, and there was no blood, and there was just particular things removed, and the rest was left.
That's they try to use that for the Skinwalker to say that it eats certain organs of things it kills like first, and then like if it's small enough they'll take it for the rest of the meat too eventually. But
to me it seems like it's like experimental, like they're
aliens. They're trying to
figuring us out, and
same reason they probe humans. And they might probe cows too. I don't freaking know, but
yeah.
Well,
anyways,
I didn't get a whole lot. You know, when I was searching around, it seemed like he either came into Skinwalker Ranch or Creepypasta. And I read
Right.
through them. I listened to a bunch of podcasts through the week. No names, no dates. A lot of times
Yeah.
there wasn't even location. But yeah, no, with that the Shermans, I got the rundown of what happened there. So one of his sons started beating that wolf with an axe handle, and then
Yep.
his dad walked up to it and shot it point blank with a 357. And the wolf just sort of looked at him unfazed. And then Sherman ran back to his barn, and he got his hunting rifle and shot the thing 2 more times. So it's like that whole story, you know, he had to run to his car and get his gun the first time while his son's beating it with an axe handle, and then run back into his shed to get his hunting rifle. I don't know, man. And then they looked for it. They chased it down for over a mile, but then the paw prints just disappeared. So
Yeah. I mean,
um,
and it doesn't say in that story either, but in that version, but supposedly it got stuck trying to like put its head between the gates to get a cow. That's why they caught it. And that's why they saw it because it got its head stuck in the gates.
yeah, I
So
didn't
it's
or
hear
got
in
all
that.
on the
these
fence.
powers and it can get its head stuck in a gate. Like what?
Well,
Well,
I mean, they don't know. They don't know if it was a skinwalker or not, though. I mean,
It
it could
seems
have
more
been
like a magic wolf.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a theory that it's been interdimensional too, because that's why they couldn't follow it any further than like a mile. Like
Yeah,
it's like it switched over to another dimension or something.
yeah. And
So-
also there was things about cows, like cows going missing, because they had a whole bunch of cows go missing, and there'd be tracks just like that, tracks, and then they're just gone. And like
What-
a cow.
They had
Can't
2
just
bulls
disappear.
that were locked in a trailer too. I saw that part.
Yes, and they actually had that happen on Secret Skinwalker Ranch again. They had like 20 cows locked in a trailer, and to get them in there the way they were in there so they would all fit, no human could do that. No human could lift cows like that and stack them like that in that trailer. Like they showed it when they opened it up, and it was like, what the fuck? Like it was just like
Oh,
one of those
that's
moments.
creepy.
Yeah, I don't
So
know. Check it out.
like and like stuff on the ranch will like be stacked on top of each other, like big cylinders and stuff that no human could move on their own. And they don't have like cranes and stuff on this ranch. So
No, that's creepy. That's creepy. That screams alien again, right? I don't know.
mhm.
But can you imagine being the son and you're like fighting this thing with an axe, and then you look and your dad is running away,
Running
even though he's
away.
going to get a
After he shot the thing point blank range, it didn't do anything. I mean, it didn't say if his son was still beating it with the axe handle at that point.
I just think that's funny. Like, oh my God.
But yeah, when
Yeah.
I was looking into what a skinwalker actually was, right? So, like you said, it's a medicine man that turns evil. He's wearing the skin. But the Navajo name for that is Yi Nala Delushi. And I'm sure I fucked that up. But that translates into it goes on all 4s, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
there's something funny. There's a guy called Tony Hillerman, which is known for his fictional detective novels about a Navajo tribal police officers, Joe Lephorn and Jim Che. And I think this is where the whole skinwalker thing came in. He made a series of books, The Coyote Waits, A Thief of Time, and he actually made one titled Skinwalker, and it turned into an AMC original TV shows called Dark Winds. Have either of you guys seen that?
No, that just started. That just started on AMC.
Oh, did it? Okay.
It's a brand new show out there right now.
But he's basically the one who kind of popularized, and that's where I'm thinking. I think, you know, a white European dude got a hold of this Navajo legend, which used to just be like a witch doctor, you know, that turned
Yeah.
evil. He wore skins, and then we turned it into something totally crazy. But looking for news, I found a bunch of local news and a CNN news story, and I'll share this. They were all on the same story. Let me get that down. So have you guys seen, I know you had to have seen this picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on everything. Yeah.
Okay. That
That's
was
one
on
of
the
some
news,
books.
and that was the only thing I could find in news. I even looked the newspaper archives, couldn't find anything. But does that picture look similar to that one?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
100%.
exact.
Yeah. So this was an alien movie made in 1982 called Extra, and they actually had like 3 of these friggin' things. But yeah, I mean that was basically the only thing that I could find legitimate.
These, these photos always remind me, people make jokes about how, like, Google Earth, oh my God, you can take a photo of your house and see right down to like the coffee cup on the table, clear as day. But surveillance camera, when there's a murderer out and there's, whatever, and there's surveillance camera, it's always like this grainy, like it could be Sasquatch for all you can tell in surveillance cameras. Like, why are these photos so crappy always?
Well, that one, I think CNN, I don't remember which one deciphered that code, but most of them were just running with it, that it was a geologist out there working on an oil field. He saw something moving around, so he got his thermal camera out and took a picture of that. That's why they did the grayscale on it instead of the color.
Right.
And then he quit his job the next day and they started finding all this crazy shit. But yeah, no, it wasn't a ton of news articles or anything. And then, like I said, with the creepy pasta, there was just like no names, no dates.
That's what I found, yeah.
But then we
Yeah,
get into, go for it.
I was gonna say, did you try looking on Reddit?
Well, I do
Yes.
main searches and Reddit's pop up, but
same thing, like, so I was looking and Reddit definitely pops up, but it's, it's vague. It feels like it's too vague, or,
mhm.
I
I
don't
Yeah,
mean,
know.
Monsters Among Us has had a few calls in over the last like 14 seasons that people think they came across skinwalkers, but you obviously can't prove it's a skinwalker. It could be
Yeah.
they even say it could be these other things too. But I think the one that popped up a few times was people be driving down like back roads in the southwest, and all of a sudden like they would see like a human standing there, and then they look back again and it's a dog chasing the car, or vice versa.
yeah, I heard one with a
Yeah.
deer man that chased the car, and then I heard a couple other stories where these people were outrunning these things in the woods. But in the other story, it's keeping up through the woods at 60 miles an hour down
to
the
the
back
car,
road.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, it can keep up with cars from what I heard from multiple
That's what
different
I've
stories.
seen too, and they will test themselves. Like when I was saying before that they are very intentional when they're killing people or whatever, but they will also do things like that, like run alongside a car just to be seen. It's very intentional, everything they do, from what I see.
no.
What do you guys feel? Like, is this witchcraft or is this alien?
I mean, it's definitely witchcraft if it exists.
You know what I feel like? I feel like witchcraft, like the medicine men opened a portal, opened some
Possible.
activity
Could
and
be.
whatever, and then alien and whatever comes through, right? Like it's open area.
Well, have you seen the hieroglyphs up above that Skinwalker Ranch, Deborah?
Well, just like kind of, not a whole lot. I didn't dig into that a whole lot. So yeah, I don't know a whole bunch about it, but that screams to me alien then, right? Not witchcraft so much. But do you feel like witchcraft brought, because whole thing was medicine man they went into like taboo area, and some cultures feel that it's just anybody, it's not even a medicine man, it could be any man, woman, or child who crosses a taboo area can turn into this. So, but I feel like once you open that kind of thing, then anything can come through if you can't control it. So that makes sense. If
You don't
it's
open you don't open Pandora's box.
Pandora's box, right? Like if it's just a regular person and they do something really terrible they shouldn't, and they've kind of conjured up this sort of portal, who knows what can come through? And then aliens or whatever, who knows, right?
Yeah, I
Chupacabras,
don't
too.
think you can bring in Skinwalker Ranch with this Skinwalker, because it's like we got the one wolf, right? I don't know how it got that name, but Skinwalker Ranch definitely seems more alien.
I think so
Well,
too. But could it have started with a medicine man or a man or a woman or whoever that did something wrong in a sort of witchcrafty area, who didn't know, couldn't control it, opened up this whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Native Americans have been talking about this though way before Skinwalker Ranch was ever a thing. Before Sherman's even bought the ranch, like
Yeah,
that's how they found out about the name Skinwalkers, because they talked to local Native Americans and they told them, like, Native Americans warned them about this land when they bought it, because that land was cursed from the Utes and the Navajos fighting.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time just believing in Native American things. I just do.
Well, and I
mean,
think the Native American thing was one thing, and then we got our dirty little hands on it and changed it into something totally different for TV shows, you know?
Right.
But
Well, it's
I mean,
either like it's either that or it started as one thing and then it opened the door to other stuff. Because I think when you're like even us talking, you know, whatever, I think when you open doors and you don't totally know how to control stuff, maybe you open doors that's, you know, who knows what.
Yeah, keep them doors closed.
Keep the doors closed. That's what I'm doing tonight.
good advice for every parents out there.
Right.
Well, the last thing I got on it is that it's Adrian. Yeah, it's just Adrian Keene. She's from the Cherokee Nation, but she started that Native appropriation website blog. And it started out where she was tweeting with J.K. Rowling's asking her if she would, because she was concerned that American Hogwarts wasn't going to be, like, it wasn't supposed to be American Hogwarts. It was supposed to be Native American, indigenous Hogwarts. So they got into a long text thing with that. J.K. Rowling said that she was going to put in some Native American, indigenous people. But then, like, it seemed like after she didn't get the answer she liked, the next tweets, she started attacking her for the Skinwalker thing, right? And like we were talking about before the show, you got Lupercalia dating back way like 55 BC or 44 BC. And that has the story of Ramus and Remus. And Remus, like you were saying, Jeremy, is one of the characters. So it's
Remus
like
Lupin.
it's-
Lupin. They took she did that very explicitly for the name because it's what it's based on.
well, yeah, and it would be one thing if she was an American to try to like come after her after J.K. Rowling, but J.K. Rowling probably doesn't know a lot of American culture at the time of writing that book, right? I mean, she's from
Well,
England.
I'll say it now, but I mean, the thing I found about J.K. Rowling is in some of the extra material, it's not in any of the main Harry Potter books, but in some of the added material that's online and whatnot, or in because they never showed the American school in any of the Harry Potter movies. They
Mhm.
showed it in Fantastic Beasts 1 for like a second. And
Yeah.
like they didn't do it. But apparently when the added content, the extra world material of Harry Potter, it's mentioned somewhere that skinwalkers don't exist, that wizards made it up to explain to muggles why they see some animagi or shapeshifter witches.
Mhm.
Like that's so that it's somewhere in the Harry Potter world. There's that out there that skinwalkers don't exist and that wizards made it up just to make rules for themselves.
Yeah,
to
I
make
don't know if
excuses for themselves.
it didn't sound like she was using any of that in the tweets, and this was before the Fantastic Beasts was released, I'm pretty sure too. So
Well, that may have been why it was brought up, because before the first Fantastic Beasts movie ever came out in 2013, 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. I forget where. Actually, no, like 2016. Yeah, it was 16 or 17. But before it came out, there was rumors that they were going to have the American Hogwarts
mhm.
in the movie first. In the movie, they didn't say how long or how deep they were going to get into it. I thought it would be deeper, and so maybe that's what brought it all about, is because they were going to show American Hogwarts. So that's what brought this whole tweet argument about. Maybe
Are you guys Harry Potter fans?
deeply.
Yeah,
obviously.
You know,
Obviously.
so I'm a writer. And so
Mm.
what's crazy to me about all of this is, as a writer, you take things that are steeped in, you know, actual facts. So myself, like actual facts. But then you take you take creative license with it. So you can't really fault the writer, however they make it, because it's fiction at that point.
Yeah.
It's a fiction, like J.K. Rowling, it's fiction. So you can make that whatever you want out of it. And you can't be called out for that. It's fiction. But every single writer in the world borrows from real life, myself included. That's what's amazing. You see this something and you're like, that's really cool. But even cooler would be this happened.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of hard to, like, call out writers when, that they didn't, stay to exact, guidelines or whatever of factual things, because it's the whole thing of fiction. It's fiction.
Yeah, I mean,
Making it
it
your
is.
own.
We can call out the writers for the Ring of Power, though. That was horrible.
I haven't watched it yet. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
I've been watching comedies. I haven't had a chance to watch anything that's new.
I mean, I gotta watch it for sure. Huge Tolkien fan, but
Yeah.
I heard it's gonna be like it's like any show like that. Once you have to give it a couple episodes to get into the good stuff.
well, they give you
Yeah.
2 episodes from the first one, but you don't really learn a lot. So that was my problem with it.
That's the point of it, because they want to make it go for seasons. So they want to like make mystique all around, and they have a huge world to play with. So
We only get 6 more episodes, my friend. I need some
Well,
stuff popping off.
It's like the first season of Mandalorian. You don't get that much. You gotta wait till the
Yeah.
second season, then you get everything.
I hope you're right.
You get Boba Fett. Remember, you get Boba Fett in the second season. So just in the second season of Lord of the Rings, you might get some freaking Gandalf or something like that, because Gandalf's old this time.
Breaking Bad, you found out what was going on immediately. Even Gilmore Girls, dude. Like, you found out the whole plot to the story. This, it's like, come on, what are we doing?
Okay, but like, give writers a break again, writers. Give writers a break. Gilmore Girls is like regular life, whatever. You're talking about like a whole world that's been created and whatever, and it's all,
Yeah.
you gotta like give some time. You gotta build that shit up. That's all.
They were on their trail by the amount of time they had in the movies. So, like,
No, Gilmore Girls was a freaking just a MILF and her daughter. That's what it was about.
Yeah,
obviously you haven't
doesn't
watched
love
it over
that,
and over
right?
again.
No, I've only seen random episodes when I was a kid on ABC Family, but
I've had to watch that going to bed every day for 18 years now.
Everyone loves it. I love Gilmore Girls. Come on, you guys. It's like to my heart.
yeah.
It was hard getting used to Sam and Dean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because Sam was Dean in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Did you see the episode? Well, we're getting off topic. I'll give up my time.
On to Gilmore Girls from Skinwalker's Ranch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's on you, Jeremy.
All right. Well, I mean, we already talked about Secret Skinwalker Ranch to some point, and I recommend anybody who's into this stuff, go watch that show, because it is the best paranormal show with the most evidence I've ever seen.
You said it's on Hulu?
I believe it's depending where you live, because Deborah does live in Canada, and Canada has different streaming stuff that we do.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be on Star up there, which is part of Disney Plus, but I think. But I mean, it's not on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it is Hulu that it's on, because Hulu does a lot of TV shows like that once seasons are over. So the first 2 seasons are on Hulu, at least. I know that because my wife watched them on there. I mean, I saw them when they were running live on cable. And from the beginning, I watched the show just because I saw the title on an advertisement, which was like Skinwalker Ranch. Hell yes. And besides the motherfucker named Dragon, everything about it is freaking amazing.
I think Dragon needs to get on here and like comment. Come on, Dragon. Come defend yourself here.
I mean, but Dragon gets cool in the second season. Like, you start to like him a little bit, but it's just that name, dude. That's not your real name. Everybody knows it. Like, it even says your real name when you're talking. So just enough. But
he brings the fire, man. Come on.
Yeah, he brings something, but ain't the damn fire.
So like it says Deborah Kerr, but I'm saying my name's Butterfly or something. And
I can go with that more than Dragon because it fits your personality. But
that's nice.
And speaking of Ring of Power, The next example of a live action film with a Skinwalker type creature in it is The Hobbit, which has Bjorn, and he is a skin changer who hates dwarves but also hates orcs and goblins, and he could change back and forth between a bear and a human, which it kind of does focus more on that Scandinavian lore we talked about of the berserkers.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's not that many pop culture things for skinwalkers out there, so I had to be picky and choosy what I took. So that's one example. And then there's another one, which I don't know. I don't think this is the one you're talking about, Scott, earlier, but Skinwalker Ranch is just Skinwalker Ranch, not the secret of. Is a it's a found footage film about a paranormal investigation team that investigates a ranch, not unlike the real life Sherman Ranch, where all the myth originates from, but the film takes it more as an alien invasion storyline.
Yeah, I
So,
just saw like documentary style stuff.
and it does include a giant wolf and a beast-like humanoid that are implied to be such creatures that are skinwalkers. So, don't know, but there was a movie in 2006 called Skinwalkers, and it's about two warring werewolf packs. So, doesn't really have anything to do with skinwalkers. They just threw that name on there because it was becoming a popular paranormal topic at that point.
There is a Skinwalker movie too, isn't there?
But
just-
that's the only one I found was the Skinwalker Ranch one and Skinwalkers.
Yeah, I think there is one called Skinwalker, and it's free on Vudu.
Yeah, it's
But
on the cover
saw
of
that
it.
too.
Isn't it like a house on a mountain and the mountain shaped like a wolf's head?
I'm pulling it up right now. All I know is it
Okay.
does not.
I
I
look
think
know
I
good.
saw that too.
I think I've seen it on like Hulu or Netflix like back in the day, like as like a free like a movie that was just on there and I never even heard of it. But
Yeah, so there is one just called Skinwalker without I don't know if you guys can.
not really. I mean, oh yeah, I can see the name, but 2020. Oh, that's new. 2021.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I think that's the one I watched. It did not look very good, but
I'm
it's
sure.
streaming free on Vudu with commercials.
Oh yeah. If Voodoo has it free, it's not good.
What about
Like,
The
that's basically-
Outsider? Because that was one that I found too. The Outsider. So
They wrote
let's get
they
in there.
listed that under that's listed under books, but that's
Okay.
That's actually a Stephen King book, I believe. The
I didn't
Outsider.
see that
Well,
one.
HBO's. So it's like a. It's
Yeah,
a TV.
it's a TV series and it's based on a Stephen King novel.
Okay.
Which I mean, if you want to go into the Stephen King territory, the movie he did that I just watched recently, Skinwalkers, that's kind of similar to Skinwalkers because I mean, Sleepwalkers is about well a mom and a son apparently who are incestuous, but they're really these creatures that can shape shit. They when they need to feed on humans because they're cats. They're giant like skinwalker looking cats when they transform out of their
Oh.
human's body.
So doesn't that go back to the witchcraft thing though? Like back to the native,
They don't
where
explain
you're
where
doing
they
something taboo and then you turn into a skinwalker. That really actually fits in with that.
I haven't read the Stephen King book yet, so but in the movie they do not explain how they got these abilities. It's just like they were born with it. So,
Right.
but I'm regular cats are like want to kill them. Like that's well, spoilers because the movie's old as shit, but yeah, that's how they get killed by a group of cats. Like that's how pathetic the movie is. Like
Stephen
literally a
King
group of
didn't
house
make
cats.
a lot of good movies.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't blame him for the movies. He
No,
can't
yeah,
control
he,
directors
he
do with this
doesn't
stuff.
like the movies. Green Mile
Yeah.
and Shawshank Redemption, though, those were good.
Ooh, those were actually in our top. Those are in our final four facing each other on the evening at the movies Stephen King tournament
Yeah.
Okay.
for Stephen King's 75th birthday coming up in a month. But
Good movies.
and yeah, I watched about 16 Stephen King movies in the last month because of this. So yeah,
What's your
Yeah,
favorite? What's your favorite? I gotta ask.
favorite movie. And actually, what I mean, Green Mile and Shawshank are amazing, but they're not to me Stephen King. I mean, I know they are based on Stephen King short stories, but they're not real Stephen King to me. The best movie by far. I gotta say is Salem's Lot is the
Yeah.
best movie by far. Salem's Lot, and I can't wait for the new one coming out this year.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but I mean that's the best because that's one of the few directors who didn't butcher his movies.
You
His
didn't like
horror movies.
you didn't like the one he did? It was like X-Men Rise of the Phoenix. Oh no, it's Carrie. Carrie,
Carrie,
that
yeah.
one.
The fact you track all that extra movie makes you want to reach through the screen. But but
Carrie,
no,
you know what's funny, Carrie? He actually threw away his first draft. Like he thought it was,
yeah.
and his wife dug it out, and she's like, "I'll help you talk about being a young female," because he thought it was garbage, and it turned out to be like it was his first big hit, right?
It was his first book ever. It was his
Yeah.
first book ever besides like
But he threw it
some
away. He
magazines.
thought it was garbage, and
Oh yeah,
I mean, yeah.
If you read the book now, he writes that in the prologue of it, like how he threw the script away and everything, and like how he threw the manuscript away.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the movie. Carrie's good, but it's just not. They need to remake it and make it good. Like make
Like
it
it's
good
hard.
with modern.
It's hard when you have this idea and it's like this whole, you see it in your mind or whatever, and then like I think the screen adaptations are, when somebody else's kind of vision meshing with yours, so it can get lost in translation.
I mean, the only thing I'll say about Carrie is that opening scene in the locker room is like, I wish teenage me saw that, not 29-year-old me, 30-year-old me, because
Yeah.
teenage me would have loved that part. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, best Stephen King movie is Sounds Lot so far that I've seen, and it matches the book the best. But
Have you
all the
guys
other
read The
ones-
Dark Towers? I've wanted to get into that a couple times.
I'm on the second one. They are long and they are
That's what I think.
confusing.
What about the other side? What about, because I love the whole idea of your personality, and then you have this whole dark personality. I love that whole, even as a writer or whatever, even as psychology, whatever. I love that whole idea. You have this whole dark side to you.
Well, The Dark Tower, I mean, it's just the book is long and confusing. I mean, the first book's not that bad. It just repeats itself a lot. Like
Okay.
and the second book is okay so far, but I haven't touched it in like a year almost because I do a house with kids and I don't have time to read anymore. So
Yeah, I got Audible credits, man, but I've wanted to. I bought Legend of Drizzt on Audible. It's just the narrator sucks, They should just have Neil
Yeah.
Gaiman narrate everything.
but if you want a good Stephen King book to read The Talisman. That
Talisman?
because they're making a movie off it soon, I think, or a TV show, but it's one of my favorite Stephen King books ever.
Or what about Needful Things?
I saw the movie. I never read the book. I just saw the movie for the tournament. I thought it was stupid as hell.
I think it's a fascinating idea
They
because
took
everybody's
the
like,
monkey
oh,
paw.
little, yeah.
He took the monkey paw, and Stephen King's like, all right, I'm gonna take this old story that's a famous fable about a monkey paw that you make wishes on, and I'm gonna turn it into this book, and I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna skin a dog in the movie for fuck's sake, because why not?
So the weird thing is, so my thing is, I've read the book, but I've never seen the movie. But I love the book. I love the idea of people like rating,
Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time watching the movie. I'm begging you.
Yeah, so that's my thing. You guys love movies, and I love reading, and so I haven't seen a whole lot of like movies and whatever. But books are a whole different thing, I think.
I love Stephen King books, but they ruin his movies, except for a few directors, and most of the movies they don't ruin are non-horror, like Green Mile or Shawshank or Stand by Me.
Green Mile was amazing. That's one movie I saw, and that was amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the last movie about skinwalkers to some degree was called Werewolf, and it came out in 1996, and it purports to be a skinwalker instead of the white man's werewolf.
Okay.
And but no, apparently in the movie it's the white man's werewolf, complete with silver bullets. But aside from mispronouncing that Yi Na Lushi term that I think Scott said earlier,
Yeah, I
if that was
tried.
the same. They actually get a few things right about skinwalkers apparently in this movie, like based on actual Native American legend. But I haven't seen it. I know you've heard of it, so I can't say shite. But when you go to TV shows, have done it in different ways. I mean, The show Haven. I don't know if either of you ever watched that. I think it was a sci-fi show.
I haven't.
I've heard of it.
It was called Haven. I think it's a sci-fi show, but it had a serial killer known as the Bolt Gun Killer, and he had the ability to wear other people's skins after killing them and then transform into that person. And the main character suspected that the Native American legends of the Skinwalker may have been based on his ancestors because his abilities passed down through bloodline.
Did you watch
So-
that one?
No, I've wanted to watch Haven for a long time. I just never had the chance to watch it.
It's on
Sci-fi
my
does some good
list.
Sci-fi does some good shows. They do, but and of course it's been on Mountain Monsters. It's been on Mountain Monsters. It's been on Lost Tapes. They did a whole episode to it on Lost Tapes. They on Smallville they had a wolf shifter creature that they called the Skinwalker, but it's not really any relation to the actual one. And they did show up on Supernatural. Speaking of Dean and Sam, they
Mhm.
did show up on Supernatural as people who can turn to various dogs and can be killed by Silver. Because actually, I'm pretty sure that's the episode where is that the one where Dean could talk to a dog and like they argue over sticks?
Shit, it's been a while
I
since
know.
I've seen it.
I know. I haven't watched through the whole thing since the first time I did it like 10 years ago.
So when I was
And-
doing my research, I found that their skinwalkers are near impossible to kill except with a bullet or a knife dipped in white ash.
I've heard
White
that. I've heard
ash.
that.
Have you heard that
Yeah.
too? Yeah, okay.
I didn't see anything
Yeah.
on how to kill him, so that's good to know. White ash.
But Skinwalkers also were on True Blood, of course, among the shifters which was a group of people on True Blood, which I've never watched True Blood all the way through. I've seen random
No.
episodes, but I mean, I want to watch it because it's Anna Paquin and anything she's in, I'll watch. But and apparently the shifters in that show can change into any animal they touch, which that sounds like Animorphs to me. It looks like they stole that idea from Animorphs.
Yeah.
But True Blood Skinwalkers in that show are shifters who have killed an immediate family member, and from then on they could take on the appearance of other people. But using that ability more than a few times apparently kills them. So
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess they do kind of go in the original Skinwalker legend on that part to some degree. But
Do you think it would count if like grandma was just suffering in excruciating pain until she had to pass away and you ended her suffering? Is that
yes,
still Okay.
assisted suicide. I'm pretty sure to most cultures is just bad suicide. So, or it's just murder to them if it's assisted suicide. But the last show, though, and of course I remember this episode, is X-Files, because they did an episode called Shapes, which it featured a Native American werewolf, which during its transformation, and this is what I was talking about, where they said like this is pop culture made. He sheds its skin in a snake-like manner, which I've never seen that image on X-Files and being like, ew. But they didn't call it a skinwalker on that episode. They called it a Manitou, which it's an Algonquin nature spirit, the Manitou. So they just used the wrong name because the Skinwalker wasn't a well-known name at that point because it was the early 90s still. So the whole Sherman Ranch thing didn't happen yet. So if it did, they basically probably would have done that. But at the end of the episode, Scully in her book and her journal just called it a lycanthrope. So they kind of went with the werewolf legend more than anything. And they've been in a bunch of books like the Harry Potter. It's apparently in the extra materials. But yeah, Native American muggles made them up to frame their magical colleagues, particularly those who were animagi or animagi, however you say that. And apparently a lot of Native Americans were pissed at that too, because that whole fact like was insulting to them by saying it wasn't real.
Yeah.
So
I think people need to just get over it.
but it's extra material. So all the extra material in the Harry Potter world, J.K. Rowling didn't write all of it. There
Okay.
are a lot of it was fan made stuff in the extra world out there, and like fans just filled in gaps on what they thought. Like the people who started like these Harry Potter forums back in the early days of the internet, and like stuck with them till this day. Like, yeah, but yeah, the Skinwalker is in the Iron Druid Chronicles. They're one of the main enemies. They're the hero of the Jane Yellowrock series, is a Skinwalker of Cherokee descent. And the first book in that is called Skinwalker. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, Scott.
It was by Tony Hillerman.
All right, so this is a different series completely then, apparently. But
Interesting.
and they're mentioned in the Mercy Thompson novels as evil shamans who wear the skin of an animal to assume its form and to spread disease and death. But they're never seen in the novel, they're just mentioned. And that's pretty much all the books that are mentioned in, besides the obvious ones. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure when I read American Gods, they mentioned skinwalkers in there at some point when they talk to the Native American gods, but it's just not seen. Like, they don't show a lot of monsters in that book.
So
Neil
what were you
Gaiman,
guys
once again.
thinking for next week? I got a good one I want to do here.
Oh, let's hear it then.
Finally thought about something.
It's your pick anyway, so go.
Witch
I think.
trials.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do just Salem, or you want to do worldwide?
I say worldwide. I've been looking at that newspaper thing, the National Archive. Oh my God, we got witch trials all over the place. man.
Coming up to Halloween, witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty crazy ones, but then we have actual news, like the actual copy of the newspaper article for clips, and like they have execution dates,
It's
everything.
like, it's documented. That shit is documented. For sure.
And then hopefully
Yep.
if we can find a couple that are like well documented, then we can go find like the lore wherever they were executed at or something, try to tie that type of thing together.
I mean, I've been to Salem.
You've been to Salem?
I live in Massachusetts.
Oh
Been
my
to
God.
Salem, Oregon. How is that?
So
I
do you
mean,
feel? What do you feel? What's going on?
I mean, there's really nothing to see nowadays. I mean, they show you like a tree that witch got hung from, but that's basically it. Like, you could take the guy a tour and pay like a shitload of money to have them tell you about the story. And if you, I'll give everybody a little hint, save you some money. Instead of taking the tour, just listen to Unobscured with Aaron Mahnke. The first season. The
I
first
feel like
season.
if I go there, I'm gonna feel stuff. Like I'm gonna know extra stuff.
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, because I literally asked the tour guide, I'm like, so have you guys listened to Unobscured with Aaron Mahnke? He's like, yeah, he's like, we love the first season. He's like, we use that for our tours now because it gave us so much information in one place compared to everything else.
Yeah, his first
Yeah.
season was great, man. Lore.
Well, no, this is Unobscured. It's the second show he did. But
Oh, that was the show. That's on Hulu?
no,
Or no, that's on HBO, right?
No, Lore is on Amazon Prime. Lore's on
Okay.
Amazon Prime. But Unobscured was another podcast he did where each season he covers one topic and he talks to experts.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that one. His
Yeah,
shows
it's in
got
like
a little drug out, season
Yeah,
4 or 5.
Well, he does like a full season of them now. So like he does like one topic per full season on that show. And I mean, the whole first season is about the Salem witch trials mainly. And it's good. It was good. It was good. I mean, his
I'll
other
have to
seasons
check it
after
out.
that. He did one on spiritualism too in like the early 1900s. Like that was the second season and it was not as good, but
That would
it's
be
a more
another
bor-
good topic where we could find a lot of like factual data too.
Yeah.
But
And it's funny, it was so acceptable at one time, right? Like the Ouija boards and the seances, and everybody was doing it. It was like fashionable. And now
Mhm.
everybody's like, oh, Ouija, like no.
But like
it's
you said,
interesting,
we're-
but it's like trends, right?
we're going back to that, right? I think we'll
I feel
head
like
back
people
to
are
it.
opening up to spirituality. Like it's a whole different, it's not structured religion so much. I think, anyway.
Yeah, people are starting to leave the mainstream religions. I think that's what
Yeah,
opens it
yeah.
up. Gotta believe in something. Us dumb monkeys.
I mean, there's. So what do you believe? Do you believe there's life after? Do you believe we're connected?
I believe this is a simulation. I believe that ties into all the astrological stuff. Those are just
Yes.
algorithms. We're just numbers, and then we just don't exist.
You believe we don't exist?
I do, yeah. I think
I
we're
believe
probably
we're a collective. I believe we're all connected and we're a collective.
we're like
You know-
an experiment to test dog food or something.
Oh, what? I love it. What do you believe, Jeremy? What?
I was gonna say it's funny. I just had a devotee of Christ on my show, and his episode just released. His name is Emmanuel Kingman. I think his episode just released, or it might be coming out still. I know it's in the area where it just came out, but yeah, okay, I know what it is. Okay, yeah, it's coming out on the 30th. It's coming out on not 30th, on September 10th, and this devotee of Christ basically believes that Earth is like a Death Star type thing, where it's a Death Star on the outside, but everything inside it's just a fake that we see.
And he's a devotee of Christ.
Yeah,
How did he
I know.
meld those two together?
I mean, he's also a psychic. He used to be a psychic seer, and he used to be an energy worker. So, I mean, it's an interesting episode. Everybody should listen to it. They want to hear full details of it, because I try to get him. I try to ask as many questions I could think of, because it was a weird topic. But
Yeah, sounds like a fun one.
It's so interesting. Everybody, it's fun. And it's fun, honestly. It's just so fun. Because I was raised Catholic, so it was so like, this is the way. And you only think one way. I love that people are like way outside the box.
Yeah.
And people are like, they say stuff and you're like, what? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But I love that people are, putting forth all these different ideas. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, they got some, man. When we were traveling, we were in People's Park for a long time when we were kids. And there was this guy, Victor, that was there the whole time, and he would drink a bottle of Dawn soap every day. Dude didn't
Soap?
die after months. He drank it every day. And then he would go play karate with the pigeons in the middle of the park. And he would start talking about the alien Aryan nation is coming to take him away. Met a lot of people who thought they were Jesus.
Don't you think it's so cool though? Like, what if all the crazy, completely nuts people had it right all the time? You're like, oh my god, that person actually, like, they seemed like such a nut that they actually knew.
Yeah, maybe some of them, but I don't know. My uncle, when I was 16, he took me into the room and told me that he was Jesus Christ, and Madonna, whose real name is Lori, is Mary Magdalene. And I mean, he had clips of paper and like, this CD was dedicated to me. This CD was
Your
dedicated
uncle?
to me.
This is your uncle?
So like, as she would come out with the CDs, do you remember when she did that music video of her walking? Like she was on a treadmill going through the world.
Not really. I mean,
It's like early thousands. But that was at the time my uncle was riding his bike around the country. And then she did a horse album, and that was when he was a horse rancher. And like, I think he was realistically just finding out what she was making a CD about and then going and doing that.
And connecting. He felt some connection, yeah.
But I mean, he's a normal guy, but he believes this shit 100%. But if you were to just talk to him, normal guy. He's not.
I love the psychology behind it. When people really start revealing their, deep, dark, depths.
Yeah, no. Me and my cousins
So
always
interesting.
joke about it because, when you find out Uncle John's not the tightest screw in the shed.
I know, but aren't people so much more interesting when they're like that?
Yeah, till they're scary.
Well, okay, yeah, 100%. There comes a point where you're like, no, you're not allowed at the family reunion anymore.
So what do you believe in?
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's so weird because I was raised Catholic, and so it's very just cut and dry. Everything outside of the church is demonic and whatever and evil. And I've been on such a spiritual journey the last few years that I'm way opened up to all of these ideas. I'm kind of open to a lot of this stuff, as crazy as it sounds, and I don't want to be like the weirdo on the call that's like, yeah, aliens, witches, whatever. But I think there is other dimensions, and I think 100% we can, communicate with spirits, and I think there is reincarnation. I think we're here to learn lessons, and I think we're here to teach lessons and open awakening. And yeah, I've really changed over the last couple of years.
A lot of psychics I
Sorry
know
to my
agree with
family.
you.
Sorry to my family. And I'm psychic. Like that's the whole trouble is I have spirits around me. And this has really opened up to me over the last few years. I'm like, there is like the veil is thinning and there is a whole movement happening. There's a whole thing that's gonna happen where basically half the world is going to wake up and understand what's going on. And it's our job to like help other people to see how thin the dimensions are, like how thin the whole veil is.
Hmm.
No, sorry, that sounds like completely weird.
Oh,
No.
everybody's got different. I believe we're in a goddamn computer simulation. Come on now.
Every psychic I ever talked to agrees that the last 5 years has been a spiritual awakening, and it's still continuing.
Yeah.
So
It is, yeah. Do you guys feel like in the last couple of years that you've actually been kind of more opened up to things?
I mean, I've always been open to things, but I've been
Yeah.
I've been experiencing more while talking to psychics and mediums and other people like
Yeah.
that for the last like year or so. So, I mean,
Always been
yeah.
around weirdos. Nothing
Well,
new.
Here's one more. But you're saying like your wife believes in all these kind of things, right?
Yeah, she believes in ghosts and stuff. She's pretty agnostic. Like she doesn't really religion wise,
Right.
dwell on it. But yeah, no, she's the only reason I believe in the ghosts. She does her tarot cards
Yeah.
but I try to exclude myself from all that stuff.
What? So why?
I don't like we were talking about before, opening doors. Remember that? Keep them doors closed.
So you're scared. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Jeremy? What do you believe in?
I believe in a little bit of everything. I mean, I'm agnostic until I get proven differently, but it's 100%. Like I believe I am open minded to everything. I talk to so many different people with different beliefs that I can be swayed one way one week and the next week someone sways me the other way. Like it's just too much out there to really know what's true and what's not true.
Yeah, that can be a problem. But
I mean, I was supposed to actually have a past life regression session done today, it's like 2.5 hours long, but she had a family emergency, so she couldn't do it. So hopefully sometime soon in the future.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
that's
I can't
interesting.
disprove. Like I've told you guys, my son, he used to just start crying out of nowhere, talking about how his wife burned up in the house. And like, I mean, I don't put it past any of this stuff. I don't know.
But isn't just so much more interesting if that is real?
Yeah, for
It
sure.
like and it explains so much about why you behave the way you do. If you've had things from your past lives that are still reoccurring, and you can address them and then change them.
Yeah, that's better than Darwin's theory, that's for sure. That's pretty boring.
Right? Yeah. I
Okay.
know all my relatives are like, shut up. It's just like, quit talking now. It's like it's the Whitneys. It's
Well, I'm gonna end the podcast here. I'm gonna take us off the live stream. So you guys, thanks for listening. And we'll be back again.
beautiful.
Anybody want to say goodbye? Okay.
Be sure to catch me tomorrow on a paranormal roundtable on somebody else's show with like 8 or 9 different paranormal professionals. So
Do you have the link or what's the name of the show?
Sure.
I have the YouTube link actually. She did send it out.